Raging gamers, welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And we always like to start it off, showing you guys viral content that is circulating all across the world. So, drinking while gaming is a blast until your gaming setup looks like a confusing mashup of controllers and cables and empty bottles, leaving you wondering if you're playing Call of Duty or cleanup duty.
So, a quick tour. This is the dining room / game room. We have a lot of games here. Got a PC, Nintendo Switch, 3 monitors, pretty nice over here. It's where we eat. And this is the living room, which also has games. And another little dining room here.
I think that Asmongold, if you've ever seen his room, he's got some competition.
That's
and it's
so
in
true.
the form of this video.
I totally forgot about that video. That is actually a pretty legendary viral clip. Remember when his father visits him and he's like, dude, how do you even walk around here? Like, you want to clown your brother, but this is disgusting. You kind of wonder why, people that make that much kind of money, fall into this very, very nasty habit. But man, people wanted to comment around this viral clip. And the first one here is, nah, this dude has given up on life. If your room looks like this, please get help. This is actually disgusting.
He's just mold maxing, guys. Come on. Let him be. Let him be.
Yeah, let him be. You can smell this video. It seems like every gamer, we can start smelling your videos as of recently. So I know the Game Sen is trying to go viral with gamers, but I don't know if we really need that 4D immersive experience as of yet.
I don't think you want that for this video.
Right? And next, I wonder if they know that Fireball comes in bigger bottles than that. I think that's a good point, but to be fair, you look at that streaming desk and you're like, you could easily clean up this entire mess in 10 or 15 minutes. Tops,
oh, yeah, easily. Right? I mean, it's mostly cups, right? There's stuff on the floor you can vacuum up.
Compared to
cups
Asmon,
is the biggest thing.
Yeah, compared to Asmongold, you referenced, man, he had his hairball, which you couldn't tell was coming from his cat or his own skull, or
it's
leftover food.
It's not from some cat. He is a balding man.
He's a balding man. Hey, HenricK said it, I did, and I know you want to keep your lady locks going. Hey, but let's go on to the next video because this gamer took farming XP to the next level by growing a virtual crop of experience points without even lifting a controller.
I was trying to think of what game it would be, and of course it's Skyrim, because I've done something like this myself, where it's just you are trying to level some skill, so say stealth, for example.
Right.
You just put a little thing on your keyboard, like a coin, and wedged in between the keys to make the key press down, and you just go and crouch into a corner and just keep walking forward. You'll level up your stealth really quickly.
See, everybody gets very creative finding different ways to be able to level up their player. But, we do have comments around the clip. And the first person wrote, all bro had to do was fast travel across the map while still holding that spell. Yeah, that's the oldest trick in the book. But we just let this guy cook? Can we not? I mean, it's still very creative in the end.
He's AFK, he wants to go do some other things while he gets to level up his skills.
Exactly. Too many other methods of doing this. Ain't no way you're making machines to do what one mod does. While the next person wrote, you could get this done in 5 seconds if you just use the fast travel bug, or by just spamming clairvoyance and detect life while you're just running around. This is going to take way longer and probably damage your controller. And the last one is, this is called being lame. So, HenricK, I guess what you were doing is considered lame to some gamers.
But you know what? Maybe I didn't want to download a mod. Maybe I didn't want to deal with some bugs.
Fair enough.
I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do things in a kind of legitimate way. Maybe it's clever game mechanic use outside of the game.
So true, yeah. But hey, we got an amazing milestone with this next clip because streamer Silithur, and if I'm pronouncing or butchering your name, I'm sorry, my man, because, gamer tags, they can be so lucrative when it comes to, their streaming titles. But anyways, he achieved the impossible in Elden Ring by mastering the art of gaming with just one button, making all those fancy controllers feel as useless as a sword against a dragon made of pudding.
This guy can now be the guy in any conversation where someone says, "Oh, Elden Ring's too hard, man." Literally skill issue, dude.
Maybe
he
we've
did
all
it
been
with one button.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like all of us have been playing on easy mode this entire time, right? I mean, even if you had your settings on hard mode, I don't know if you really were playing it to the full extent.
Exactly.
So the first comment that we got here is, oh gosh, that is hilarious. Anybody that's seen Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, gotta love it. That actor is so
Where's
freaking
the
good.
Explosion?
Yeah, right? You start hearing the bell. Next one that we got here is bro using Morse code as a controller. So freaking true.
Go.
What is he, like a wartime vet in his past life that we have no idea about? That is incredible.
Yeah, he was working the telegram.
So true. And what is the purpose of this? This maybe will give some pride to him, but no offense, this sucks. Maybe because it's impressive. And what do you mean it sucks? What does he mean by it sucks? Why do people feel the need?
You just want to have some challenge. Maybe he was really good at the game and he was just like, what can I think of as a way to spice things up? I got it. One button. That's all I'll use.
Yeah, right. And you got to give it to him. I mean, everybody always gets very creative. We've seen, people, the fake, Twitch streamers out there. You remember the girl that was saying she could do it all through her mind? I'm just praying.
Oh, yeah.
And if it's Silither or Sealither, I don't know. I'm just praying that we're all not getting finessed by this one video. It is so freaking cool, so freaking badass. You gotta love it, gamers. But also, we want to reference this at the top of the show that the Esports World Cup revealed an unprecedented prize pool of over $60 million for this year's event. That is insane. It is set to take place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia this summer. This staggering sum marks the largest prize pool ever in esports history, surpassing Gamer8's previous record of 45 million set in 2023. So, HenricK, looks like I'm in the wrong line of work. Forget spreadsheets.
Yeah, we both are.
I should be picking up a controller instead.
No, yeah, seriously. Like, if someone wins this, like it says, it is literally life-changing money.
It is.
Don't worry, Mom
crazy.
and Dad. I got this. Video games have not been a waste. I'm gonna go win the 60
really
million.
never felt very promising because remember we were laughing about last season with the Olympics trying to get into the esports world, but it's like how can anybody get involved if you're not bringing in the likes of like League of Legends, Call of Duty, Overwatch, and etc. So when you look at this lineup, you're like, this is finally an esports World Cup that people are willing to watch. I mean, for example, like Fortnite.
You get to actually play games or watch games that that you can go and play while you watch, or watch it and then go play afterwards. You can go play some Fortnite afterwards.
So
You're
true,
like,
but
let me try the little thing that this guy did in this tournament. Maybe I can try and replicate it.
well, think about how laughable the Olympics event was because they were promoting like mobile games like this archery game that was out less than 6 months. And so how do you become an esports athlete or quote unquote professional towards this certain IP if it hasn't been available for over 2+ years? And then again, the Olympics, they wanted to avoid, getting into things that were ultra violent. That's why they don't want the likes of, a PUBG or StarCraft, Tekken 8, matter of fact. So that is like totally wild. But the event will feature the world's top clubs and players in 20 distinct tournaments across 19 competitive titles, with more to be announced throughout its 8-week schedule. So incredible to see, Saudi Arabia really try to get their feet in the door when it comes to golf, LIV. If you're not aware of it, who knows? This country might be the forefront leader for hosting eSport World Cup events in the near future. Very, very insane. But hey, we got a jam-packed show for everybody that's tuning in live with us on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, and we want you, the gamers, to get involved. As you can clearly see from the lower third, comment and be featured live on air. Your voice matters. And so, HenricK, you ready to rock and roll, my friend? Get this show on the road?
Oh, yeah, and I know what's coming up. It's time to rage.
It's time to rage, baby. Let's go ahead and get it going. Woo!
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Content Warning. Content Warning has gotten lots of attention as a Lethal Company type of game, but where this one went different from Lethal Company was that it gave the first 6 million players the game for free. Aside from that marketing tactic, the game is also a little different from Lethal Company, however. So let's go over it by starting with the gameplay. Content Warning's gameplay loop is really easy to understand. You start off in a house with a goal to go viral on SpookTube. In order to do that, you have to grab your friends, your video camera, and head to the old world using a diving bell. In the old world, you can find a factory with monsters inside of it. Your goal is to film the monsters and get enough footage to go viral. But you had better not die or drop the camera and not recover it, since if you do, then you will have lost that footage. If you do not meet the required view count within the set amount of days, your progress will be reset and it is a game over. As you can imagine, it being a horror game, the monsters are designed to sneak up on you, but the whole point of the game is to keep you from running from them right away. Now, about the story. The story of Content Warning is fairly detailed, but a lot is still speculation and theory. However, what is clear is that there is a new world and an old world. The new world is vibrant and cheerful, contrasting the old world, which is grim and dark and dangerous. The air is also toxic to breathe in the old world, indicated by the use of oxygen tanks to breathe when down there. The monsters are definitely a reference to SCP Foundation creepypasta monsters, or are inspired by a similar situation to the monsters in Lethal Company. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
All right, people have said it already, but I'll say it now here. Logan Paul.
Wow.
The game.
Yeah, Logan Paul. But man, you really had to go that far to that extent. That's how we're starting off Content Warning. Is every content influencer out there resembling the past mistakes of Logan Paul? You know, maybe, but that was quite a horror.
It was definitely just, kind of satire on how far of an extent some YouTubers will go just to get content for their YouTube channel to go viral, potentially.
I would say maybe the more fair comparison for this content creator RPG is like of the likes of the Blair Witch Project, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's got all that kind of immersive experience that you're gonna get. It's very fun and quirky. You feel like you're at Mickey Mouse's Playhouse in the beginning, and then all of a sudden you jump inside your rocket ship, and then you go and set sail into the dark unknown. And you gotta love it because forget running from monsters. You're trying to get up and cozy with them. And even if you offer yourself as a sacrifice, all while praying that your pals capture it on your phone, it creates a lot of amazing viral streaming content. Wouldn't you say, HenricK?
No, yeah, and especially because of the fact that not only do you get to see what you filmed in game, but you can also save it to your desktop. Like, that's already a very, very smart move from the developers, because the things you film are already so comedic a lot of the times, and you'll want to share it with people, even if you're not necessarily recording you playing the game or streaming it. You're going to want to share it with your friends, and I've seen plenty of hilarious clips already from this game so far, and it's not even been out that long, really. So I'm sure that more things will come across.
Yeah, it was built by a tiny team of 5 developers in just 6 weeks. It is an incredible milestone for an indie team. But, I have to say, for this content creator RPG, it's like a party of all your favorite influencers. It's fun, it's community-driven, and full of potential. But for me, at least, HenricK, it somehow, feels a bit underwhelming on the level. You feel like it's a punchline without the joke. It definitely needs a few more content updates to really keep gamers in for the long overhaul, because, for me at the moment, I'm just going to get it right out of the way. It's a pause at the moment. It doesn't mean it's a horrible game. I mean, for $7.99, it's definitely worth purchasing it. But the thing is, if you go in by yourself, you better just hope that you have an amazing random party with you, because if not, you're not going to get those fun viral moments. Like, I don't know if you've seen Queso play the game for the first time. That was hysterical, and that's why it works so well on Twitch. But I just don't know if all the gamers that jump in, for the first time, is going to have that same kind of fun, in-chat experience.
That's the thing. You could technically play with random people, but this is really a game you're going to want to play with your friends. And that could be a struggle to gather your friends together to all play the same game. I know the game's not very expensive, so it's not a huge barrier there either, but it is still a struggle sometimes to get everyone together and everything together. And then not only that, you guys have to make it fun, Like you were saying, there's not a whole lot to really do in the game aside from go look at the monsters and then film them.
It's
the
so
fun
true.
really comes in when it's like you create a storyline around it with your friends, or you just mess around
you have to
somehow,
set the tone.
Yeah, exactly.
But you also have other gamers. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm just saying, Oh, go for it, HenricK. Sorry about that.
I was just gonna say, that's the difference between this game and Lethal Company, for example.
Yeah.
Whereas Lethal Company has an actual storyline to it. It has already had a lot of good updates to keep it interesting. And I feel like that game is something that you could be more inclined to go play with random people and have fun with random people rather than have to rely on just playing with your friends.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I also think it's an important highlight to reference that in the first 24 hours after it hit Steam, more than 6 million players downloaded it. And some people say that was a bit of a publicity stunt to really kind of elevate this game to the mainstream media, because the game was given away for free at first for the first million players out there, and then eventually you had to pay $7.99 for the game. Thought that's really, really cool. But I don't know if you've been seeing some of the discourse around the game about how this game is very male dominated and allow female gamers want to play this game. But the problem is, someone's got to be the team leader, got to be the team captain. So a lot of the times, female gamers out there have kind of been voicing out that you're not really going to be the leader, which is kind of strange on a level. That could really be your own personality coming into the mix, or it's just that, who knows? I just know that people kind of feel like there needs to be a better setup in the game to really kind of allow it so someone gets selected at random to be the team leader that kind of controls the film crew, or just leave the option open. And you know what? If you don't want to be a part of that group, it's as easy as just leaving the lobby and rebooting it to go play with new gamers.
Or maybe sometimes, just an idea for them. Maybe sometimes you'll randomly get 2 cameras to go film.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's going to be way plenty of options out there to really kind of expound upon this game. But, it really needs you, the gamers, to be, the retention needs to be there. I mean, it could fall off as fast as Power World on a level, or it can really kind of control that fan base to keep on going, like Helldivers 2 is proving to be very successful in the year 2024. So we'll see what happens with this game. But for as of now, $7.99 is super, super cheap. And if you got friends that are willing to just want to play something new, and you have a party of 3 with you that wants to play something, this is the game for you. But this isn't something that I'm running to and wanting to play 24/7. So for me, it's a pause. But what about yourself, HenricK?
Yeah, I think that it's a pause. Well, I will say it's a pause for me too, and this is my reasoning why. It's a little bit of flavor of the month kind of sort of game, and that's the problem that I have with it.
But there's nothing wrong with that, though.
It's not a bad game. It's just that I don't see myself playing this.
It's not a repeat.
Many years in the future, and that's probably gonna be the same thing for a lot of people. A lot of people are not going to necessarily come back to this 5 years in the future where they're looking for a game to play. No, it's content warning. No, there's other things that you're going to want to play before that.
Yeah, and like and on a level 2, like this is kind of like nothing new. I don't know why I'm having a brain fart right now. Probably should have researched this before the show, but what is it? It was like Outcast, or what was that one game that already had a camcorder to begin with while you're
the
running
Outlast
around?
Trials.
Exactly. So like this kind of concept is nothing new in a sense, and so that's why it's like if this was like, you know, in of its own thing on a level with this whole content creator RPG, but you know, you get to go back to the house and you all get to watch the content together. If you have a funny crew, then you're gonna love it. If everybody's just kind of boring and staying quiet and just really taking the game way too serious, then it's not a fun experience. So that's kind of the knockoff.
Go play something else.
Exactly. But hey, we want to hear from you gamers. Is this the type of game that you are loving, you're playing endless hours of, or is it a pause to play something new? Let us know how you feel about content warning. But hey, we got a lot more cooking up here on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So you ready to rock and roll, HenricK the Wreck?
Absolutely. It is time to rage.
Blast off. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. Ubisoft is in hot water again with Star Wars Outlaws. Fans are losing it because the Jabba the Hutt mission is stashed behind a season pass paywall. Will hanging out with Jabba the Hutt cost you an arm and a leg? Who knows? Maybe you'll even get to double cross him. But at what cost? Brace yourself, gamers, because if you want to dance with Jabba, you'll have to break open your piggy bank. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Gold Edition. As you can clearly see, it includes 2 upcoming story pack DLCs. The one that's under controversy is the Jabba the Hutt. So the season pass priced at $110 for the Gold Edition, and you also have a premium Ultimate Edition that is worth $130. It reveals access to the Jabba's Gambit mission at launch. So the details around that mission is, just as Kay is putting together a crew for the Canto fight heist, she receives a job from the Jabba the Hutt himself. Turns out that the ND5 owes Jabba a debt from years ago, and he has come to collect it. So let's go ahead and check out the comments surrounding this drama. First one says, if I see season pass, battle pass, roadmap, live service, or always online, I tune out immediately. It's all trash.
I think people are getting real tired of it. Like I know every game that comes out now, even if it's single player, is trying to do this because it makes them money.
Yeah.
It gets tiring when that's
so
all
true.
you're hearing.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that too, especially when it comes from a single player game. Just buy Helldivers, gaming done properly. And I know a lot of gamers are speaking out loud, HenricK, going like, you know what I like about Helldivers is no crossovers. No, like, Avatar The Last Airbender coming in. It just sticks
they actually
to democracy.
Just say, none of that. We don't want to be Fortnite.
Yeah, exactly. Let them do their own thing. They literally ruined it with Season Pass. I was rooting for this game. In a sense, I feel for this guy because, you know, on a level, this news really kind of just makes me go, gosh, God, man, what else are they holding back from us? And dude, awful decision. What the F? You put that in the trailer, but then lock it behind a season pass? Shameless. But, you know, to clarify, Jabba the Hutt will be in the game, but we just don't know how much is removed from the game when it comes to...
Yeah, they're very obtuse on how they describe what's going to be in that mission. You don't know if it's going to be a 30-minute mission or a 2-hour mission or what. You know, and if it's only 30 minutes, is that really worth, at launch, another $40 on top of the game? I know there's a promise of other content, but like, come on.
Yeah, $40 might not sound a lot, but you got 2 upcoming DLC missions, both worth $20 each. Oh, my land. That mission better be, gosh, like... I don't know, 5 to 8 hours long, or it's not worth the pay. Boycott AAA. All right, you know, we've been kind of saying this for a while. If you don't want to see the season pass, you know, and the battle pass and all that other kind of fun stuff, or not, then you got to show it with your wallet. And what I mean by your wallet, you hold the money in the wallet.
It is truly a vote with your wallet moment. If you do not like this, do not buy it.
Do not buy it. And last, and now I'm not copying. Already learned my lesson with Suicide Squad. I just want a single player finished game that doesn't have an endless life cycle. That's, that's not being discussed enough. What's up with just creating a single player game that doesn't have an endless life cycle? What is up with that, HenricK?
Well, I think that it's from both sides, the gamers and the developers. Developers, they want to have something that's live service because they can cash in on updates. Every time that they have an update, they can push out new content that you have to buy, right? Whether it be skins or just actual DLC missions, things like that. And then for the gamers, their perspective is, well, technically I'm winning as well in a way because there's more content that's going to come out for this game that I really love. But at the same time, yeah, why can't there just be a game that just comes out, it's 100% finished, and it's good, it's beloved, and then maybe there's DLC that comes out like in a couple years later, but not like a live service sort of DLC where it's like at launch there's a mission, and then there's a battle pass and a season pass, and then it's just...
I think that's a fair point because...
less genuine.
Well, you got Fallout TV, and they got like a lot of people replaying a lot of the old titles all over again. But then, because of this discourse happening with Star Wars Outlaws, people were also reminding gamers that, even Fallout 4 did this. But I would clap back and say they didn't do this at launch. That's the biggest difference. And so I think that's why people are getting really upset with Ubisoft continually pushing this notion. They've been doing this with the Assassin's Creed games for years, that it's like, let the game breathe. You're always making it feel like you're removing what should already be in the game in the first place, and that's what bugs people. But HenricK, the Star Wars Outlaws season pass is so expensive, I feel like I owe Jabba the Hutt a lifetime of smuggling runs just to pay it off. Will you pay the extra credits to hang out with the galaxy's favorite slug?
I got the best idea for you then, if you think it's too expensive.
Okay.
They have another option for the access to this game, and it's called Ubisoft Plus, $17.99 a month. Does that sound good to you? I don't know. I don't think I want to pay another subscription personally, but depending on the length of the game, maybe you could play the game in the month that you have.
But do you think that it's going to drop? Is it going to drop on day one, though? Because if it did, kind of like how Starfield was, then yeah, it might actually be worth trying it for like the first month, and if it's actually good, then yeah, maybe I might actually buy the title. But my thing is, it's like being promised the best pizza ever, only to find out that the toppings are locked behind a paywall. The delivery guy won't even ring the doorbell unless you pre-order. That's my problem. You can't
get any pepperoni unless you spend another $5.
Exactly.
Cash
and it's like
up front.
Right. So like that's my biggest grief with a lot of these video game developers as of today. And I'm with you. I can't stand it. And so if you guys really want to set a standard towards these studios and developers, continuing to push this notion, you need to fight back by not spending your dollar bills, yo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a vote with your wallet moment. If you don't like this, don't partake in it. And that's a hard thing to say, I know, because there's a lot of FOMO when a game comes out. Like, oh man, I really want to play it, but then I don't know. You have to make the decision yourself. Do I want to spend all this much money on one game, or do I want to go maybe look at some indie games? Because there's great indie games out there that you should play instead.
But I that was a good last point to, leave off on with the whole FOMO. Star Wars kind of offers that in a sense. It's been such a successful franchise for so long. So when you're not playing it within the first week, you're feeling that you're going to get a bunch of spoilers. And I could see that's why people want to jump into this game heads on day one, or pay the extra $40 or pay for the Ultimate Edition for $130 just to be able to play it 3 days before the initial launch date. So yeah, I mean, come on, gamers, get behind it. Talk with your wallet. But let's go ahead and switch to the next topic, HenricK. Break it down.
After dominating the box office for years, superhero movies are now feeling more beat up than a villain after a showdown with Superman.
Yeah.
With comic book adaptations struggling, Hollywood is turning to video game franchises for a fresh start, hoping to level up their success. For example, an 8-episode adaptation of Bethesda Softworks' Fallout is on Amazon Prime, which tells an ultra-violent but tongue-in-cheek story set in a bombed-out post-nuclear version of Southern California, with retrofuturist riffs on 1950s atomic age tropes. Let's check out what gamers have to say about the Fallout series.
Yeah, let's go ahead and check out the first comment we have here. Every single hardcore Fallout fan can sympathize with Maximus. His entire backstory is, quote, I joined the Brotherhood so I could get power armor. I felt that during the episode. They actually nailed that really well.
Yeah, they did. Like the whole feeling of him just being kind of like helpless and feeling weak, and then being confronted on why did you join the Brotherhood, and he's like, oh, to hurt the people who hurt me.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a young kid and you see something that's so spectacular like the power armor, you're never gonna forget it. And so they really showed that visually very well done.
And they are a badass faction in the series as well. Like they come in with choppers, and zeppelins, and it's like, oh, whoa, like this is post-apocalyptic. What?
So true,
technology.
Man. But you know, as much as the Brotherhood of Steel stole the show, I have to agree with this comment. Walton Goggins steals every scene he touches. He was so freaking good. And I know my dad's not very big into sci-fi, but, you know, he was catching a little bit of a glimpse of this, and he was even captivated because, you know, if the story narrative can, you know, grab your attention, then, yeah, you know, you're going to feel immersed. It's on a level, it's for all ages. It's very good humor. And as you referenced in the script, ultra violent. Gotta love it. Next comment we got here is the ghouls, quote, wasteland's golden rule, end quote, absolutely killed me. Thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every goddamn time.
I mean, that's just how those games are, too. You know, it's like you look at the map, you're like, I gotta go here. And on the way there, you get sidetracked by caves, vaults, raiders attacking you. Every sort of thing gets in your way.
Oh, that line where he was saying about the ass jerky. Oh, that was so funny. Oh, that made me laugh so hard. I love that the stim packs behave just like how it was in the game. No questions how it heals. It's just did it just like in the game. They didn't have an entire episode dedicated to why and how it works. They just used it and moved on with the plot like how you use it in the game because it's just an in-game, quote, medication, end quote, no explanation required. Did you like that move? Did you feel like it needed to be explained for, you know, viewers that are never played Fallout?
I think that if they went the route of explaining it, would feel like maybe too much exposition too soon and out of place. I mean, think about it. In the moment, they're getting raided. Yeah. And then they're now, you know, recovering from getting raided somewhat. And she just has to stab herself with the stim pack. Yeah. Like, you kind of just figure out, oh, okay, it's some sort of drugs that helps them continue on.
Exactly. I built some of the sets for this, including the vault and the main vault door. It was so cool working on it that I actually started playing the games. That is so cool, you know. And if this is true that you were a part of the set design,
yes,
it was
good
so
job.
good. It was so freaking good. I binge watched this show so freaking fast that I was upset that it was 8 episodes. And we might as well get into the last comment before we start sharing our thoughts. And the last one here is, I love the pre-war plotline because that's always been one of the most interesting aspects of Fallout to me, is what led to this. So I think that is such a good point, you know. And so, HenricK, I mean, have you binge watched this yet? Is this something that, you know, is a must-see TV?
It is a must-see, especially... Maybe you've seen some clips of it already and some clips of the cast members talking about it, the people behind the scenes, all that. It is truly a game, or sorry, a series based on a game where the people working on it are fans of the game. And that is something I love to see. I don't like seeing, in any form of adaptation, whether it be from a book, a comic book, whatever, I don't like seeing that the people who work on it are like, man, screw the source material. We don't like it. We're going to change it. We're going to do our own thing. Like, dude, the source material is what made it popular.
It's so true. If you just
follow the source material and you appreciate it in the proper way, you're going to get people to like it.
But that
Like,
reminds me of the
done.
But that reminds me of the controversy this week with the Borderlands star Ariana Greenblatt, which has revealed that Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn helped inspire her Tiny Tina performance. And I know a lot of gamers went after her and go, "Why are you using Harley Quinn for influence? Why don't you just focus on Tiny Tina? It's right there."
Yeah,
like,
there's
why?
a game. You can go play the game.
Exactly.
Multiple games.
Like, Harley Quinn's her own thing. Please don't bring this into Borderlands. But, I thought you brought up a really good point, about how there are creators amongst the Fallout TV series like Jonathan Nolan and a bunch of other executive producers amongst the, this amazing TV adaptation. And I know they even spoke out, even when they were working on the HBO show in the past, Westworld, that Fallout 4 was a major inspiration towards that show. And so being that much involved for years on Westworld to finally be able to get to make an adaptation for the first time ever amongst this Fallout series is so freaking cool. But I have to say, HenricK, move over superhero flicks, because there's a new boss in town, and it's not, these buffed up heroes in spandex, right? So are video game adaptations the new superhero movies?
Well, so long as superhero movies continue to be feeling like cash grabs, yes. And it will be this way until video games, adaptations, movies, television, whatever, till they start to be only cash grabs. And I know it's not the way for every superhero movie that comes out now. A lot of people who are working on them, they really do like the source material and they want to give it the due diligence. But it isn't necessarily something that one person or two people or however many can really fix. It's something from a top down that has to be fixed. Like, the executive producers and above need to be on board with, like, okay, we want to do the due diligence to making this good. And if they keep doing that like they did with this, it's going to be a lot of good movies and TV series that we're going to be seeing moving forward.
So that's so true. And I start thinking about, companies like Disney and HBO Max that built their streaming strategies around intellectual property like Marvel and DC Comics. And just listening to your words, HenricK, it really does make me think about how audience really feel. I think they're kind of being sick and tired of being bombarded with multiverses and these, offerings of promises of, cameos from other actors who previously donned the mask, right? That kind of
gets... It's cool. It's cool the first couple times at least, but then it's like you go back to it or you see every movie doing that, and it's like, dude, can you not come up with something new and creative to do, and you just have to bank on nostalgia instead?
No, it's so true, man. And I think that's why, the Fallout games work for TV, because there's over hundreds of characters that players get to interact with. And when you watch this TV show, you feel like it's a side quest and not trying to be the main quest, which is very, very cool, because you're focusing on not just one character the entire time. There's multiple characters. And even within 8 episodes, you're like, I still feel like it wasn't enough. But I think they were kind of testing the waters, and there's a lot of theory out there with Vault 33 that, maybe just check from the initial date that the show launched, 33 weeks from now, will we get an update about Fallout TV Season 2? That's kind of speculation that's happening. But, serious superhero fatigue seems to be setting in. You got the likes of, Madam Web and Blue Beetle, with these, like, second string characters, trying to make it into the spotlight. But then, you start thinking about some of these superheroes like the Aquaman sequel, or even last year, Captain Marvel sequel earned less than 1/5 of what the first flick scored back in 2019. And that's why it feels like HBO is kind of starting to move away from the intellectual property of comic books and really embracing video games. Because, you got the likes of, like, The Last of Us, for example, which really proved to be successful, scoring 8 Emmys. And so I know Amazon wants to join that party with Fallout.
Oh, yeah.
And, we'll see
all
what
the
happens.
studios are looking at that success and like, let's get in on this, boys, because we gotta.
No, it's so true. But it doesn't feel like all video game adaptations are going to work out that well. And the ones that I'm still...
It is going to depend on the series as well as whether they do a good job with it or not. But it does bring up the question, like, what do you think would be a good adaptation? Like, what would you like to see on the silver screen or the whatever, your own TV at home?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. You know, the very first thing that I was really thinking about when it comes to a pixelated paradise that I want to see crash land into my living room next, I'm going to have to go with God of War. I mean, how could you not want to see gods smash each other's faces on the big screen or the small screen? I think it might work better on the small screen, in my opinion, because this is not a story that you could just slam in 2 to 3 hours unless you turned it into a trilogy.
No, I agree. It is a lot of lore to delve into, not necessarily exposition wise, like just exposition dump, but you know, you can build it out better over the course of a TV series rather than in a movie where it has to be maximum 3 hours, but it's not going to be 3 hours if they do a movie. It'll be like 2 maximum.
But think about, you know, from Greek to Norse mythology, you know, following a Spartan warrior with a tragic past that's got everything that Hollywood loves. These are amazing themes in cinematic storytelling.
There's
Revenge,
a character
fatherhood.
Development. There's a bit of a redemption arc. Yeah, there's a lot of things that they really love to do as tropes in Hollywood. You're right.
But I'm curious on what you want. What is that video game that you would like to see show up on the big or the small screen?
So Control, the game from Remedy, is a great candidate for that. It is a series, well, it is a game. It isn't a series yet, but it is a game based on, loosely based on the SCP Creepypasta Foundation series, which is just a collection of stories online that you can go and read. And usually it's just based on like little images that people found that were creepy online, and then they write a long story about it.
Yeah,
but the game itself tells a story that would already be interesting and just creepy as a thriller or something on, I think, probably a television series as well. You could maybe do a movie for this one, but a television series would probably be better just to flesh it out a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm a bit 50-50. I think it could work for both. I mean, I get what you're saying when it comes to the small screen, because this is very much in comparison to like the likes of David Lynch's Twin Peaks. And it's also got a very strong female protagonist in the game. And, you know, if you're always constantly, you know, trying to solve the mysteries inside the Federal Bureau of Control. And if that's something that you love, supernatural themes, then yeah, I'm with you, HenricK. That is an excellent, excellent choice. But yeah, you know, we got more video game adaptations coming. You know, we have season 2 greenlit for Peacock's Twisted Metal, and we have Borderlands showing up in the movie theaters during the summertime. So man, oh man, we'll see if the magnitude of great video game adaptations continue.
Yeah, but what's going on with the next thing, Chris? This is a good one.
Yeah, I like this. You know, we always like a good poll out there, and IGN just conducted one, so let's break it down. Being a gamer can be rather expensive habit if you aren't careful. With some of the biggest new games arriving with the price tag of $70 now, it can be hard to justify pulling the trigger on something new right away, which is likely why gamers were found to be mostly playing older games despite 2023 being a huge year for new releases. So IGN conducted a poll asking gamers the following: how much are you willing to spend on video games? So let's go ahead and check out the results. And so as you can clearly see here, roughly 50% of people say they would spend about $50 to $60 on video games. Does that sound about right to you, HenricK?
Well, I think that's what people have been conditioned to be okay with. Especially that's why the $60 is the highest vote out of everything. But I think that's so interesting, considering that there's been so many good games that have come out in even this year and last year that have not been $60, not even $50.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it changes the perspective of how much you're willing to spend on a game when you spend $70 on a game and then you spend $40 on a different one, and you enjoy the $40 one more than the $70 one.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good point. And, you know, we broke this down during our Season 5 launch of Rage Quit. But, you know, the monthly active users would argue with the IGN poll and go, I don't know if these 1,500 gamers can really justify what the rest of the gamers are feeling, because 8% of new releases that are 2 years or younger were only being bought with newer titles like, Diablo 4, Baldur's Gate 3, and the likes of, repeats like Madden and NBA 2K. So it
and you
really
have some
kind of
free-to-play games on this list too. The very top of the list, Fortnite. You don't have to pay anything for it.
Nothing. And so that's why I have a really hard time believing, like, really, you guys are really willing to spend $60 on a game? Okay, then why the hell are we all bitching about Star Wars Outlaws then? Because of one mission being exiled away for a DLC package? Okay, but, we've all been there buying a game at launch full price only to feel like we've adopted a digital pet rock. Soulless and utterly disappointing. And now Reddit users are swapping stories about their biggest wallet-wrenching, soul-crushing game purchases, turning disappointment into a shared virtual hug with the following. FIFA for the last 6 years or so. Any professional sports game. It's crazy that you used to be able to just boot up Madden or NBA 2K, not see any attestation screen, not see a sign in for a separate service, not see a commercial, not see an upgrade screen or promo for season pass or microtransaction. You could just boot it up and go to play now. Seems insane today. Does feel a lot.
Absolutely. Considering what else is out there and what has been done and is done, yeah.
Yeah, it really does feel like this would fit better as like a season pass ordeal. But if you guys are willing to pay $70+ every year, why would EA Sports change their model now?
Exactly.
So crazy. While I'm sure the developers did care, Biomutant felt very lifeless and boring. So much so I couldn't get all the way through it. Yeah, it was definitely a head scratcher.
Definitely. One of my friends, he bought the game and he wasn't really enjoying it, but he trudged through it and paid full price, $60. So he's like, I gotta spend 60 hours in the game to get my money's worth.
He probably spent like 10 hours just on the character creator just so he felt like he got his money worth.
Yeah, exactly.
Skull and Bones, a remaster of Assassin's Creed Black Flag would have been 1,000 times better. I still can't understand how a game from 2014 beats a game from today in every aspect. Even graphics by the same company. Yeah, we don't need to harper on this too much more, but yeah, we feel for you.
Yeah.
My friend. Next comment we got here is that Metal Gear Solid Survive was a soulless piece of shit cash grab after Kojima's departure. Yep, I hear you on that one.
I mean, they completely snubbed him, so
that's
he's
a good
never
point.
coming back to them.
What about Battlefield 2042? That was kind of like, I get it initially at launch. Like, it had so many bugs. It was quite the disaster, but they've kind of reworked this thing to really be something special. But I guess I get where maybe some gamers are going with this, where, in the past, you could really knock over a building, right? You can literally drop a whole, tower. And this one, what, you got sandstorms and a hurricane? Like, that's all you're going to offer in Battlefield 2042? That is a tad disappointing. And last, unusual take maybe, but honestly, so many indie settlement builders on PC feel completely soulless to me. They either massively overemphasize mechanics and forget everything else, or they go way too far the other way and go big on the quirkiness, the coziness, whatever. There's just something missing in a lot of them, something that wasn't missing in things like Stronghold, CNC, Red Alert, Total Annihilation. These types of games had bags of genuine personality. So, these are all very, very great points. But HenricK, what video game did you buy at full price and immediately wished you could Control+Z the transaction?
Technically, if you consider this a game, the Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls expansion did fit the bill for me wanting something that was going to be really good. But then I bought it and I got through the game a little bit. It's still Diablo 3 though.
Yeah.
I still wanted to be like Diablo 2.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. I would definitely say for me, because I didn't have the PS5 as of yet, Cyberpunk 2077 was I was so disappointed when I got that on the PS4. That was a disaster. Like, why even release games on consoles that just can't handle the production of your own title? That is something I will never understand.
As much of a fan as I am of Cyberpunk, it was a very bad launch, and I played it on PC, so I didn't have that bad of an experience. But I got like 20 hours in and was like, I gotta stop because this is just getting miserable, and I gotta come back to this like a while. I'm gonna have to give him a while to cook because it's gonna take a while to fix.
But you know what? I also wish I could Control plus Z on transactions. All those trades that I gave away to GameStop. You son of a bitches! You have taken so many amazing, great titles from me. Yeah, exactly. Thinking that I'm swapping it for even a better game at launch, and I remember my brother kills me to this day getting rid of our GameCube for a Call of Duty title. I know, I screwed up. That's the dumbest thing I've ever done in my gaming career. Why would you do such a thing?
You could have kept that, and you could have sold it later if you wanted to, when everyone was looking for a GameCube.
Every time I think about it, there's so many good games that could be so much fun to play it to this day, like the Mario Soccer was so much fun, the baseball, Super Smash.
Double Dash. Can't forget that one.
Exactly. And it's like, really, you settled for freaking Call of Duty? I know. My older brother Casey's watching. He's like, yes, I hate you for it. And you know what? You should hate it. But you think about all these recent examples with Power World, which launched at just $30 and sold over 6 million copies in its first week, to also our pause or repeat featured game for this week, Content Warning, which initially launched for free at first and then enjoyed by a great surge of players for only $7.99. It's like, I feel like gamers really want to get back to the PS3 era of spending $40 on a video game. That's why Power World and Helldivers 2 is showing that success. But then on the other side, we have publishers like Ubisoft that are really trying to push for these expensive editions well over $100. So I guess, gamers might be willing to do that. I don't know.
Well, okay. When you have games come out with a battle pass and all that, you shouldn't be charging full price $60 or $70 for that game, because you're going to make back the money that you were quote unquote losing by charging less money on the battle pass, because more people are going to buy that. You're going to have more people playing the game, more people wanting to get the battle pass because they're playing the game.
Yeah, so true.
It's just like, why push for $70 for a game if you're going to do that? It's just kind of a slap in the face to the people who are buying the game. It's every time that I see the Call of Duty like monetization, it baffles me, because it's like, you hop into the game, and if you don't buy the battle pass, they ask you to buy the battle pass. And if you have the battle pass and it's not finished, they're like, well, what do you want to buy the rest of the battle pass? It's like, no, I don't want to buy the rest of that. And then if you finish the battle pass, they're still asking you to go into their shop and buy their $20 Tracer packs, because they want you to do that anyways as well. And on top of that, you paid $70 for the game.
Yeah.
Come on, it almost never goes on sale either, so it's gonna be like $60 at least.
Yeah, and I just start thinking about, the whole console war with like PlayStation and, Xbox, about how these like, they're more focused on story driven while Xbox is trying to build, this multiplayer experience. I think it's more of a generational gap thing, where, these younger gamers now are just now being, implemented to think that this is all video games is to offer, which is this free to play, pay to play experience. And they're not going to grow up the way that we did, being able to embrace a lot of these really badass bitching single player games. But I think, this is a great segue to move into the next topic of conversation, HenricK, because he's created some waves with this stance that he's dying on the hill for.
Yeah, speaking of Call of Duty, Dr. Disrespect isn't holding back, taking aim at Activision like a no-scope headshot.
Yeah.
The streamer is firing shots at the, quote, blaze up, end quote, event of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, accusing the developers of getting a little too lit with their content. Not stopping there, he's also throwing shade at Activision for pulling Nick Merckx' operator bundle faster than a camper in a firefight. It's a virtual war zone. out there.
Yeah, it does feel
tweet.
like that.
Yeah.
Activision pushing water bongs, marijuana, get high levels, drugs, and $100 camos on gamers. But they removed Nick Merck's skin for him, saying, leave the kids alone. Activision is ran by a bunch of idiots, biggest suit and tie phonies in the industry. And so clearly he was upset over Cheech and Chong making its way into the Modern Warfare 3 event that has already revealed multiple exclusive gun skins and charms tied to the event alongside on-screen operator skins based on the popular comedians Cheech and Chong. And here's what gamers had to say about Dr. Disrespect throwing serious shade at Activision. First comment that we got here is, and yet you still support them by playing their game. Don't talk about it, be about it. That is funny.
Very, very true. Speak with your actions, not with your words.
Yeah, why aren't you playing that one game that your studio was saying was going to be the next competitor to Call of Duty?
He knows that he couldn't play that game because it's unplayable.
Oh, so his streaming viewer base would completely fall off.
That too, yeah. He's going to lose all his money from streaming.
That's quite the irony. This is non-comparable, buddy. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, bro.
Yeah, really. It's a joke.
It's a joke. Them. Sounds like a big issue for you that demands a lot of your personal conviction. Maybe not enough to stop playing it, though. Yeah, everybody's clapping back on him. You playing this game still, while you're still bitching about, the suits and the phonies working at Activision. Treating cannabis like a drug in 2024 is high-key weird. Treating trans people like pedophiles in 2024 is also high-key weird. You still benefit from playing Activision games daily. You're doing a lot of typing for nothing.
Yeah, it is just spouting his words and not really doing much to defend them.
So true. Doc, I agree. They did Nick Merckx dirty, but they're normalizing cannabis, which is a big W. And last, weed has always been a part of Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2, 2009. Not a great comparison.
Yeah, why is it a problem now all of a sudden?
Yeah, I'm with you, HenricK, because, when it comes to Nick Merck's operator bundle removal over his stance with Call of Duty celebrating Pride Month in-game, is it a tactical retreat or a friendly fire mistake for Dr. Disrespect to come after Activision?
It's just so ridiculous that he's so upset about this. It's just weed, bro.
Yes.
Come on. It's not that big of a deal. And this game is also, keep in mind, the whole argument for Nick Merckx's stance against them celebrating Pride Month was protect the kids. Kids are not supposed to be playing this game, bro. This is a rated M for mature game.
Exactly. This is Call of Duty. This is not Coco Melon, okay? We all have sex education classes starting in middle school, so I don't understand, like you're saying, people like Nick Merckx and Dr. Disrespect saying that, protect the children, while the legal age to literally purchase this game is you have to be a freaking adult, right? So that is totally insane. And what does he not understand that, society at large, or even the people at Activision, have employees who are LGBTQ+. It's so mind-boggling. And then to continue to push this narrative like marijuana is a bad thing and shouldn't be condoned and keep it away from the kids, it's just totally insane.
Yeah, but do you have the same energy about the people who are incarcerated because of them being caught with weed back in the past?
Exactly.
I would wager to say maybe not.
Exactly. And I smoke marijuana, and I really believe that on the takes of Snoop Dogg and Stephen A. Smith, the minute smoking marijuana starts affecting your money, then you have a problem, right? When you start seeing a lot of these sports athletes that allow cannabis to take over their life when they're under an amazing contract that's going to set you for life, and you let the devil's lettuce, quote unquote, affect your livelihood, that's when I have a massive problem.
But you could say that about a lot of things. You could say that about alcohol. You could say that about playing video games even,
That's a good point.
If you want to relate it back to the show, if you're trying to pay rent and you're looking at your games library and you're like, yeah, I can't play any games. I got to go buy Star Wars Outlaws for $110 because I need that.
Yeah.
You just spent your rent money, dude. Like, come on.
What are we doing here? This is the silliest thing, the silliest hill to die on. And Doc, you took a massive L with this one. Like, on a level, made me lose a lot of respect for you, bro. I know that you wish you could be back in the partnership with Activision, but to make your way back into the mix, this is not the way to do it.
Not the way.
Not the way to do it. But man, we had such a great show here live on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And we want to thank you, the gamers, for tuning in live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without you, this show would not be possible. And we also want to show you my QR code. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, take the moment out of your day to please support me. I got a lot of amazing things cooking up, and I would love for you guys to join along for the ride.
You can also follow me here at my YouTube channel, and if you go there, you'll see all the things I'm cooking up, whether it be clips from this show, as well as I'm always looking at games and trying to get more games in front of your eyes, so stay tuned.
And for everybody, thank you guys for tuning on in, and we will see you next week live at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Peace.
See ya.